Hey everybody, it's Andrew Brown and welcome to the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp. And in this video, I'm going to do something that a lot of students have requested, which is how do I update my journal? How do I work with Markdown files? How do I get images into that file and things like that? So that is what we're going to cover. So I have my own repository here, the AWS Bootcamp Creditor 2023, under my own personal account. And so I will simulate what it is that you need to do. Now, again, everything for you needs to be in the main, right? I want it in this main account because I don't have time to go to other branches and check that other stuff out. But when I'm demonstrating, I have to go to other branches because I'm trying to keep this stuff clean for you so you can see what you are doing. So I need to create myself a new branch. I'm going to see if I can do it through here, through GitHub. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to hit a new branch. You are not doing this part. You're just watching this part here. And then I'll show you what you can do. So I'm just going to make a new branch here. I'm going to just say week 0 journal markdown example. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and create that branch there. Great. I'm going to go back to my base. And again, you are in main. I'm going to be in here to show you as an example. So what we're going to do here is we are going to update our journal for week 0 as if I am a student. So I've gone ahead and I've watched the videos and I have my Lucidchart stuff. And so I need to now provide that evidence, that proof of work in my journal. But I'm not really confident in terms of how to update that markdown file and provide it there. So there's a few ways you can do it. You could be opening up GItpod to do it, but I recommend not to do that because if you launch GItpod or GitHub Codespaces, you are using up your credits, your free credits. And I want you to save that for when you're actually doing exercises that require compute. GitHub allows you to edit files in line. And this was a prerequisite of the course. You're supposed to know how to use GitHub ahead of time, but that's okay. We're going through it now. So what we're going to do is click into the journal folder, and here's all those markdown files. If you want to edit any of these files, you can. Right, I'm just going to open another tab. You can click here, and there is an edit button. I'm going to make this larger so you can see. Okay, there's an edit button right here. So you can open in GitPod, I suppose. You can open the GitHub desktop. You can open in github.dev. I don't know what this is. I have an idea what this is. I know what GitPod is. So, we could try this for fun. I don't know what that is, but we'll open it for a second. Oh, that's just GitHub Codespaces. Sorry, I don't really want to open it up in there. Just going to double check. That looks like Codespaces. So no, I don't want to do that. I just want to edit it here. So we'll hit edit this file. And there you go. You can edit it right in place. So if we are submitting our homework, our required homework, I'm going to put required homework here to make my life a bit easier. You might be asking, what are these things here? This is Markdown. It's a prerequisite of the course. I didn't explicitly call it out because it's such a base level skill. But if you aren't familiar with Markdown, we can look up Markdown Syntax. And there's the Markdown website. This is one that's pretty nice. This one, Darling Fireball, has been around for a very long time. But I find it a bit hard to read, so we'll go to this one here and we can see. I'm going to, again, increase it so you can see what's going on. 1 pound in front of it makes heading 1. 2 pounds, make heading 2. 3 pounds, make heading 3. You get the idea there. Nobody ever really uses those. Not all of these might be supported because GitHub has its own type of flavor of Markdown and the implementation is not always the same, but these are absolutely going to work. Paragraphs, you just put a space. It'll automatically create paragraphs for you. If you need line breaks, you can put HTML in here to do stuff with it. If you want to emphasize things, it's double asterisks to do bold or double underscore. There's a few different ways to do them. We have block quotes, we have lists, we have code, we have horizontal rulers. I didn't even know we had those. That's kind of cool. Links, which is something you really need to know. You have images syntax, escaping characters, which I'm not worried about. And so we have some stuff there. So we will go and do a bunch of all this stuff. You don't need to read through it. You just got to follow along here and we'll pick up those skills. So required homework. These are the things that you are supposed to do. So, I'm going to go to my student portal, and I'm going to go to the submissions. Now, this is the way I'm writing out. You don't have to do write it the exact same way as me. But these are all the things that we're supposed to do. Of course, I'm a bad student. I'm behind. Of course, I've done it, so it's okay. But there is the required homework. So some required homework requires proof. Not all of it. Not all of it requires proof. I'll just know because it's in your repository. But the easier you can make it for me, the better. So let's see what we had to do. We had to create an admin user, right? So that's something that I can't really determine. It's something that is in your account, so you just have to checkbox that off. If you're not using an admin user account and you're using it incorrectly, you're just setting yourself up for a security vulnerability. That's not on me, that's on you. Cloud Shell is something that I want you to use. I don't need any proof of it. It's a very simple, easy service to use, but I just want you to know about it. So that, again, that'd just be checkbox, checkbox, right? Generating your AWS credentials, those are private to you. I don't need to see those. You just need to do it. If you don't have them, you just can't do the bootcamp. So again, that's not something I need to see in your required homework. The AWS CLI installed, this is something that you can prove to me that you did. And the way we would know that is the fact that you would have it in your repo. So in here, like in your repository here, right, we go to, I named it week 1 again. It's actually week 0. I can't really rename it. This is week 0. But I go here. Whoops, I'm just going to zoom out. And I have this directory. Sorry, not that directory, but we have our GItpod YAML file. And I'll be able to tell because it's right here, right? So that's what I'm checking for. I'm just going to open it up. I'm going to see where it is. Now, if you use something else, and you're not following along, you have to spell it out to me. So let's assume that you did not use GItpod for some reason and you had to use something else. Maybe GItpod wasn't working, so you used your local machine or something else, and you have to explicitly tell me that you know how to do it. So what I'll do is I'll go back over here, required homework, and so I'm going to go here and say installing AWS CLI. I was not able to use GItpod or GitHub Codespaces due to browser issues. So I decided to use a local environment in order to prove that I am able to use the AWS CLI. I am providing the instructions I used for my configuration of my local machine on Windows. And so you'd say, okay, I wasn't able to do that, so I'm going to do this. So how would you have done it if you did it? I'll go over to AWS CLI for the install instructions. And over here we have Windows. So you might go through those, right? So download and run the install here. So I grab that, and I'm on a Windows machine, so I could test this if I really wanted to right now. And so I'm going to put 3 backticks. These things are called backticks. These are not parentheses. On your keyboard, you have a character, keyboard example. I'm going to show it to you here. Hopefully I can make this larger. Okay, I'm going to zoom this in. Is this clear? Okay, so you have a tab key. Bigger, 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 bigger. There we go. You have a tab key, and above your tab key, you have this little tick. It's called a backtick. It's not a quotation, it's a backtick. And backticks are what you use to make code blocks in Markdown. So this also applies in Discord. If you share code in Discord, you want to use backticks to help with that. So if I go back over here, what 3 backticks is allows you to do code blocks. And so I can put code and it will get formatted in here. So if we go back over to here, the instructions you would have ran would have been, alternatively, you can use the mx command to run the ms installer for various parameters. You can use mx stuff. Now, if you copied and pasted all this stuff, I know you didn't do it because you can't do all of these. It's either one or the other. So we'll grab this one here and we'll paste it in. I did the following instructions to install my AWS CLI. Okay, and now this is some type of code. So if it's in if it's a Bash terminal, you do sh for Bash. I don't know what it is for Windows because it's not necessarily you're installing this on command prompt. So I'm going to leave that blank. But you know that is some form of proof that you did it. Now, again, it's up to me whether I'm going to accept that as being truthful or to be accurate. So when you do go off the path for required homework, required tasks, things you're supposed to do, if you aren't using the stuff that I'm using, then it's gonna be more questionable. Now, homework challenges, you can do whatever you want. And that's the key difference. Okay, so homework challenges are gonna go down below here. Notice that I'm doing, so 2 levels for this heading, 2 levels for this heading, 3 levels for that. That's under that, so week 0. We can preview this at any time. We can look to make sure it is how we want it to be. So it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go back here. Now, if you want more proof to say that you did install it, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up command prompt. I'm pretending that I'm a Windows person. I couldn't do it the other way. So here I'm in command prompt, right? I'm gonna go over to here. I'm going to paste this in. I'm gonna hit enter. I'm gonna watch it install. Next. This seems like good proof to me. I'm gonna take a screenshot here. Okay, so I took a screenshot. On Windows, it's Command-Shift-S. If you do not know how to take screenshots on Mac or Windows, go Google it. It's just hotkeys, you can do it. So I took a screenshot of that. I'm gonna open up MS Paint. Okay, I'm just showing this as an example. You do not have to do this. I really don't want people installing on Windows, but this is just a case where you have to do it. So here I have a screenshot. It says Andrew here. I know it's me. I can see that there. So I'm gonna go here and say File, Save As, and I'm gonna just say installing Windows AWS CLI. Let's go next. Whoops, I thought that was the real image. That's funny. So we go next. We say next. I've never done this before. I've never installed it on Windows, so it's gonna be fun for me. And we are going to wait for this to install. I'm gonna say yes. Again, this is an example. You don't need to do this. This is just me demonstrating what I'm going to put in here as an example for you. And we will wait. Hopefully it is lickety split here. Shouldn't take too long. Very much faster on Linux for sure. And now it is finished installing. So I'm going to test it, AWS. It's not recognized as a command, so I'm going to go back here. And again, because I'm doing something outside of the required homework, I'm going to go make notes of that. So I did the following. So I installed the AWS CLI via this command in command prompt. I'm going to highlight that there. Remember, double asterisk gives us a bold. I attempted to run the command by typing in AWS, right? But I received an error. Okay. We will go back over to command prompt. So we ran into this issue, not recognized as internal or external command, operable by batch file. That's fine. Again, I've never done it before, so for me, this is me trying to emulate that experience. To confirm the installation, open the start menu and search for command again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this. I'm going to reopen command prompt off screen. I'm going to try it again, AWS. Okay, so it works now, right? I can, this screenshot's not very useful, but I'm going to take this off screen here for a moment. And so we'd go here and I'd say I was able to resolve the error by closing command prompt and opening it again. Okay. And now we need to know that AWS works, so I'm going to do AWS STS get caller identity. Okay. And it's fair that we get this error, but let's pretend that we were able to solve it. I just don't want to go grab my credentials right now, but we go to AWS and actually, you know what? I'm going to do it just so that we have clear proof. CLS, I think, is clear to command prompt. So I'm going to go over to my AWS account. I just need some new credentials here. So I'm going to go here. I need to relog into my machine here. So I need two-factor authentication. Just a moment. Okay. And I'm just entering in it here. Okay, so this is my AWS Cloud Project account. So I'm just going to go and grab that account there. AWS Cloud Project. It's showing me my root account. You should not be logging your root account, but I want to get this done here. So hold on here. I'm just going to find the right one. Here it is. Okay. So I'm just going to grab my password here. We'll go AWS Bootcamp, AWS Bootcamp AB, Andrew Brown. I'll put my password in here. I need new credentials because after every stream, if I expose my credentials, I'm resetting them as a good habit. So I'm going to go do that right now. And so I have security credentials over here. And just as a security precaution, I'm going to reset my password. Actually, no, everything's fine. I'm just going to go generate new access keys. Command line, I understand, next, create access keys. So here are my access keys. So I'm just going to grab them. I'm going to get text edit and just drop them in. Again, I'm going to get rid of these so I'm not worried that you're looking at them. Okay, so there are those two keys. We're going to make our way back over to command prompt here. I'm going to type in AWS configure. And it's going to ask for these. So I'm going to copy this, paste it in. I'm going to copy this, paste it in, US East 1, enter. I'm not sure if that worked right, so I'm going to do AWS configure list. It shows me that neither of them have been set. So we will try that again. We will say AWS configure, and I will, again, copy this, hit enter, 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 enter. There we go. Okay, so now if I do AWS configure list, okay, I can see that the access key, the access secret key, and the region is now set up. I'm going to type in CLS to clear it. And as a sanity check, and I'm so sorry the command prompt is small, I cannot increase its size very easily. Properties, font. There we go, much larger. I'm going to type in AWS SCS get caller identity. Okay, and so this is good proof. This is very good proof that you're able to do it. Even better proof is if you are to go here, this, and when you take a screenshot, I can see your name, I can see additional information, so I have multiple points to verify that you are who you say you are and it's not coming from somewhere weird. So I'm going to screenshot that. I'm going to go to MS Paint. I'm going to paste that on in here, and we will save that as proof of AWS CLI. Okay, so we have two images we can work with now. So I go back over to here, and so I know I want to insert an image here. I installed the AWS CLI, so I'm just making a note here, note to insert image. For now, I'm going to go back down here. I'm going to place this one here. Okay. Okay, I'm going to increase the size so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so we have that. We'll come to homework challenges here in a moment. Challenges, we got to spell that right. So I'm going to say update required work. We'll go down below. I'm going to save the changes. Okay. Did not have to open GItpod, did not have to use Codespaces. So now we have some other things we want to add here, like those images. So how would we add those images? Well, if we go up one directory here, what we can do is we can add files, right? So you can say create a new file, upload files here. I want a folder for my assets to keep things nice and clean. So I can say create new file. And here, what I can do is I can create a folder called assets /. So now we have a folder. And I'm just going to put .keep because I just want to keep this directory. I don't really need anything here. Create a new folder called assets. Add a .keep file so this directory exists. It's very common to do .keep files as just a marker to commit things to repos. So now I have this folder that I can upload assets to. So I'm going to go add file, and I'm going to say upload files. And I can drag files in here. I'm going to say choose for my desktop. I'm going to go here. We're going to grab these two images. And we're going to say add images for week 0. If you want to be even more clean about it, you could have named this to say week 0 in front of each of those ones. We'll say commit the changes. And what we'll do is we'll go back into our journal folder. You can see there's assets. We'll go back down into this one here. Okay, and I'm going to go back and now edit it. Just going to expand this here. We will edit this file. We will go down below. And these are the two places where I need to insert them. So to create links, it's like this. But to create images, you do this, right? So just to make that bigger, it is exclamation, square braces for the description. So, you know, it's like installing AWS CLI. You could technically leave it blank, but it's good practice to have it there. And the way GitHub works is that it knows about relative directories. So we know that there's an assets directory, so I can just type in assets like this. And then we would need the name of it. So I'm going to go to the top here for a moment. I'm going to right-click Open Journal in a new tab. I'm going to go to Assets. I'm going to scroll on down. And so we have this file here. I'm going to click into it. And I can grab up here the URL. I'm going to go back to the first one. It's easier to do it in GItpod because it autocompletes, but again, I don't want you to waste that compute. So we will then paste that in there. So that's the first one. I'm going to go back here to the to where that image was. Okay. And we'll click into this one. We'll grab this one. We'll go down below. And then for this one, it's going to be, we are proof of working AWS CLI. And then we paste that on in there. So, you know, if I see you doing the GitPod, I'm not going to require such effort, but, you know, if you can, put it in there. And to make sure this is working, we'll go to preview first. You can see the images appear. So I'm just going to go back to the regular size. So there they are. Very clear proof. Install the AWS CLI. I'm going to go back to the edit here. To make it more clear, I'm going to say install AWS CLI and ensure that it works. Okay. Maybe I'll just keep it there. Install and verify AWS CLI. All right, so we'll go down below, add files of proof for AWS CLI. Now again, the reason why we had to do extra work there was because we did something out of the norm. And if you want to get graded, you have to make sure that you provide that information. We did get these installation instructions from someplace. So what I will do is go back and find it. And so this is on the page here. If you can always hyperlink directly to the anchor, there is no anchor for this one. So I'm going to go back to here and we'll add a hyperlink. So I'm going to go and edit it. And I'm going to scroll on down. And so here I was saying I installed the AWS Field command prompt for Windows. The AWS CLI for Windows 10 via the command prompt. I followed the instructions on the AWS CLI install documentation page. So this I'm going to turn into a link. So I put a square brace here and a square brace there and parentheses, and I paste the link. If I go to preview, we scroll on down, scroll on up, I guess. You can see we've hyperlinked it there. Okay, so add a link to show that a link to the docs. Okay, we'll go ahead here, go back. So we have a link, that's great. We have a proof of image, that's great. We have instructional steps, that's great. We have an example of issues we personally ran into, we personalized it, that's great. We have proof of work, but like proof that is hard to tamper with, right? Because we have the user ID, the account here, the name, you can see the repo in the shot. Very clear that there's no cheating going on here. There's no trickery going on here. So that is exceptional proof of that kind of stuff. But again, that's just if the required homework, you cannot work through the issues and you have to work around them in some odd way. Homework challenges. So let's take a look at this one. So one thing that, well, actually it's not homework challenges, but we still have one that we need to do. There's more than one, but I'm just going to try to do as much as I can for week 0 here to show you. So coming back to the student portal. So we did this, so that's good. I'm gonna go ahead and update the checklist. For billing alarm and budget, again, you could take screenshots and place them as proof. That would be really good to see in the AWS or from the AWS console. So I will go back over here and I'm gonna do this. Generally, like if you follow the instructions, you would have placed your the JSON file. So if I go back over here to here and I zoomed in to week 1, again, it's supposed to be called week 0. I apologize for that mistake. If you go into this JSON file and you made this file here, you would have modified it and it would have had your SNS topic in here. And it shows that I launched in CA Central 1. That's what I did in the video. This is my account ID. We have your AWS account ID, so we can match it up to yours. And it's configured for me. If I go back to the budget notifications, you'll see that I had put an email there. I don't want you exposing your emails in these things here. So if you're email sensitive, do not place it in there. You could redact part of it. So, you know, if we know that the first 4 letters is your email, then I can match that up. But those things are configured. There's things that you had to change and I can check that and see that. That's minimal proof. If you want to go the extra mile and take a screenshot and make it a lot easier for me, I greatly appreciate that and it shows great documentation. So let's do that as an example. We'll go down below here and we had install AWS CLI Verification. So this one is create a billing alarm. So I'll go down below here, create a billing alarm. Let's do budget as well as we are here. Create a budget. Okay. And I can go over to the AWS console and I can say budgets. Okay. And I can see I have a budget. So I can take a screenshot to verify that. This is not necessarily that sensitive information, but we will go here and I will take a screenshot. I'm just trying to think here. Yeah, I'm going to do this. So I'm doing it here because I'm trying to capture this up here as a unique way of saying I did the proof. I'm going to open up MS Paint. File, save as. Building alarm. Oh, that's a budget. Okay, that's okay. We can fix that in 2 seconds. So we'll go over to here. So we'll say budget alarm, right? I will go back over to here. I will go into the assets directory. I will upload a file. And we'll say add budget image. That will upload. We will go back into the assets. Yeah, week 0. Oh, sorry. We are in the docs. We want to go to the journal. We'll go to assets. There it is. We will grab the URL. We'll go back over to editing here. I'm going to make square braces, parentheses, journal budget. We're already in the journal, so we'll take that out. Image of the budget alarm I created. So we're saying billing alarm budget. We'll just take this one out. We'll assume that you did something there or the proof is already there. So I created my own budget for $1 because I cannot afford any kind of spend. I did not create a second budget because I was concerned of budget spend going over the 2 budget free limit. Okay, so everyone might do something a little bit different. So I said to do a low budget, but I gave you some flexibility there. And so again, that's another place where you can express that you have proof that you did something and that you did something unique in your particular thing. I took a screenshot. The screenshot has some level of proof that I did it. Notice when I went over here, this turned a link, it was not right. So I go back up to the top. That's why preview is great. And I missed the exclamation. So we go back up here, we go down and look at this. I can see my name. I can see the stuff up here. So that really does help us know. If you set up your user account here, you could indicate what the username was to help us map that over in the alias. Again, from a security perspective, you are exposing some information, so just be aware of that. You can always redact part of it so that I can match it up for stuff if that is a concern for you, if you're security concerned. But the concern should be minimal as long as you are making sure you do not leak your credentials out to the internet. So create a budget, that is one there. Another one that's a big one that is the reason why people were trying to update this was to show proof of their napkin design. So, or napkin or logical architecture design. So logical architecture. Recreate logical architecture design. Now, if we go back over to our profile here, I have this as one. So we have the napkin, which is a very simple, easy one. Then we have this one. So if we've completed this one, what we can do is make our way over to Lucidcharts. So I'm going to go here. And I have this one here. And by the way, we had a student point out that I did not do this right. So this here, this line here, whoops, is supposed to be, whoop, it's not letting me select, like this, because DNS is technically on the edge of it. It'd be on the inside, but like the edge would be a bit better here. And also, if you're wondering, well, what do we do when we have text that has a line through it? What I like to do is I like to take a new text label or a square here. 1 second. So drag that out. I'll put DNS back here. And so the background is white here, but I can just take the line off like that. And there, that's a lot cleaner. So I need proof of this. You can export from here, PNG. That is one way of doing it. I'm simply going to take a screenshot. I'm doing Control-Shift-S on my Windows machine. On Mac, it is different. It's like Apple 3 and 4. I have it in my muscle memory. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but I take a screenshot here. So that's in my clipboard. I go over to MS Paint. I paste it. If you're having trouble doing screenshots, go Google it. It's just hard to show my keyboard and all the steps here. So I have this image. I'm going to File, Save As, and this is going to be my logical architecture recreation diagram. I'm not too picky about these names. I'm not looking at them when I'm marking. I'm just trying to write it out here for you. So we will go back over to here, and we will go to here, and I will go to Assets, as we were doing every single time here. We will upload a new file. You can drag them in, but I'm just going here to the desktop. We want this one here. I kind of wish I named it shorter. I'm going to just grab the name so I can save myself some time. Add architectural diagram. Okay, we go back over to here, And down below, I'm going to do exclamation. I'm going to bump that up for you so you can see what's going on. Exclamation, square braces, parentheses, paste that in. Cruder logical design. Okay, take that out. Architectural design. We are going to go here, preview. It is showing broken, so I've made a mistake. We'll go back to the top. I make mistakes all the time, but you just have to double, triple check what you do. So here, it's because I missed the assets in the front of it, because I did it differently that time. So I scroll on down, go back to normal size here. You can see that it is in here, so that is good. So we will add the architectural, add logical diagram. I have a hard time with larger words because I'm dyslexic, but we'll go there and hit save. So we go down below and there it is. Now, how can you make the proof better? Well, we made this in Lucidcharts. So if we go over here in the top right corner, you have a share link. I go here and you can set it to as viewer. If you want comments from me, set it to comment. If I have time, I'll leave comments. And I go here, I copy this link. It's set to view. If you set it to edit, here, if you set it to edit and share, that means other students can mess up your work. If they mess up your work, that is going to be an issue for you. We're not going to give you leeway on that, okay? So make sure it's set to view. I copy the link. I go back over to this file here. We are going to edit this file. I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to place this as here. I could paste it in here. It's kind of long. I'm going to just bump this up here so you can see what I'm doing. This is kind of long. It's a little bit too long. So I'm going to say Lucidcharts share link. Okay. We will paste that in. And so we will go up here to preview. We always test our work to make sure it is there. I right click here, open it up. Did it work? Okay. If you really want to make sure it works correctly, you right click and you go open incognito, because then we will see, it will prompt for account. That maybe might not be very helpful. I'm sorry. I forgot that Lucidcharts requires you to do it. Now, if you use Draw.io, right, you will have to put the link here. You'll have to show the image. If I have any troubles with Draw.io, because it's the required homework and tasks, this is where I want you to use the tools that we've provided. If I mark it, if I can work it out and it's very easy for me, then that's no problem. I have TAs, and the TAs are helping with the required homework. If they can't figure it out, they're not going to goof around with it. They're just going to say, I couldn't do it, right? They're not going to put the time in. So understand with the required homework, you really do need to try to stick to the tools as best you can. Homework challenges, you have more flexibility. If you made it also in Draw.io, that could go under homework challenges. If you made an attempt at making the physical layer of the thing, that would go under homework challenges. Homework challenges are your stretch goals, things that we didn't ask you to do. They might have been suggested, but it's things that you came up with or the suggested ones that you implemented that you could put there to get a better end grade. Okay, so we'll go here and say updated Lucidcharts to have the share link, right? The share link shows me that it's your account, that you are not just copying and pasting an image from someone else and manipulating or doing something odd, not putting the time in, or someone did the work for you and they placed it in here. So this is going to be better proof, is having that link and stuff like that. If you really want to, you could even put your name on here or some kind of signifier so that if someone was to try to take your image, that might prevent that there. So there's thoughts like that. For homework challenges, you can put, again, whatever you want under it. So let's say I'm doing my homework challenge. I'm going to go to edit here. I'm going to go back to the portal. And so let's just say I did all those things, done, done, done. Remember to hit the update checklist. If you don't hit it and save, this stuff might be gone. You can refresh to make sure the stuff is there. I watched the live stream. That is good. Okay. So what should you fill in for homework challenges? That is something that we hear often as of recent. The idea is that you come up with stuff. So if I was doing this, it could be me doing something like adding security components to the logical diagram. Okay? But if you do that, you can't just throw a bunch of graphics on there. You have to tell me why you did it and for those reasons. Because if I just see you throwing stuff on there and trying to submit as work, if there's no explanation or proof to it, it's not going to mean much to me, right? It could be that I know someone was trying to do real-time WebSockets. So maybe they were trying to extend the app to do that. Now, that is a cool feature, but we do that later in the course. And the other issue is that it's not relevant to this week. So when you do homework challenges, you want to try to do things that are relevant to the current week. You can do things outside the scope of the week as long as it's in the scope of the project. But, you know, I don't want to see that every single week. I want to at least see a homework challenge that is relevant to the current week, whatever it is that you are going to do there. Okay. So hopefully that is something that is useful. If you are gathering resources from other places, you can go down here and say references. That's really useful, and you grab them and you just dump in references down below. Okay. I always reference stuff. You'll notice in our documentation that I'll always have like a reference section. If I'm grabbing stuff, I'm showing where I'm getting it from, so that then if you are going through that thing and you're not exactly sure, there's more resources to reference there. But yeah, that's the idea behind homework challenges. So just put what you can there and provide adequate proof. Okay. If you're committing things to your repo, you can call them out and point to those files directly. You can reference files in here. So I'll just give an example of referencing a file in the code base. So I'll go up to the top here. I'm just going to right click, make a new tab. And let's say I wanted to show proof of something that I committed here. We'll go here to, it's in, I'm in the right branch, right? I'm not in main. Yeah, week journal. So I got to go here to week 1 again. And we'll go into the AWS JSON and I will grab this URL up here. So I can just grab it, go back. And I might just grab part of the name like this. Example of me adding a file, example of me of referencing a file in my repo. Okay, so we go here and we go show and we increase the size here, we go down. And so you can see that I did this. This is a lot shorter. Tried to shorten links, try to make them easier for me to read, and just make sure the links do work. I can go there and say, save the example of a link to code. We'll save those changes. Let's do some formatting. So I'm going to go here and just show you some more things you can do with Markdown. So in Markdown, we can create lists. List example, right? So this is a list. And then we can do ordered list. This is a ordered list. Okay, we go to the top, we go to preview, we scroll on down, list, right? We go to the bottom here, table example. We are going to make a table. This my cool table. Hello world, exclamation mark. Okay, you can even hyperlink things in here, but let's take a look at this table first. Go to the top, scroll down. How did I know how to do this? Well, it was that tutorial where we did Markdown Syntax, right? You go here, you go here, you go to tables, They should have tables here. If they don't, we can go to another one, like is this the GitHub website? Tables. This probably one is a better resource because it's on GitHub. We go to tables. They show you how you can make tables. You can do all sorts of things in here. You can do block quotes. Code is a very useful one. So we go back over here. We did show one small code example. Let's do a bigger one. Sorry, I'm just losing my place. I'm trying to find where we were editing the file. Not here. Here. Okay. So we go back here. We say code example. Okay. Triple backtick. Triple backtick. Here's JSON. I can copy this JSON in here. And we can go paste this in. We'll go to the top of these 3 backticks. I'm going to write JSON. There are different things here. If you don't know what to write, just don't put anything in. But if you put that in there, that will color it. So we go back here, scrolling down. That gives it its color, that stuff. I'm going to take it out and see if it just auto figures it out. We go down below. We go up here. We go to preview. We scroll on down. No formatting, right? So we'll go back up. And I realize that I'm doing an extremely fast instruction. It's just more so because, you know, I expect that students are supposed to know this. So this is kind of like a bonus video to get you through it. If I'm going too quick, you just got to slow it down and watch it again, okay? So we'll go to the top here. We'll go preview, and you can see the code example. So more examples, and we'll save that. So what did we learn? How to add an image, how to use or edit GitHub pages, how to write good homework, how to show good proof. And so this is generally what I would consider good documentation, good proof. So hopefully that is helpful. I will be grading soon, and it will be fun for me to do. So we'll see you soon. Ciao.